Good afternoon, everyone. It's so exciting to be here in New York with agencies. My name's Ericka Podesta-McCoy. I am the Chief Marketing Officer at Resonate. We are the leader in AI-powered consumer intelligence. Our Ignite platform is purpose-built for agencies. We're going to talk today about AI-powered data, the missing link between strategic bravery and agency growth. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about AI today. There's a lot of talk about AI everywhere and in the news. But I'm here to say, like, definitively, if anyone was here when the internet was born, this is like the internet being born again. This is going to transform our lives for the foreseeable future in every way, shape, and form. It's everywhere already. And there's some things that are great. There are some really exciting things that are happening. I'm personally excited about the advancements in cancer detection. This is a good thing. I'm excited about the idea of being able to master climate change, vast sums of data being analyzed more effectively with AI, all good. The ESP talking to other species, okay, maybe not as necessary. There's some questionable things, the deep fakes, okay, probably not a good thing. And obviously the political things that you see in the middle, we're preparing ourselves for what's going to be a pretty exciting year when it comes to AI because we've got the presidential election coming. So there's good, there's bad, there's weird, just generally weird. But it's really exciting for the things that we do. It's really exciting if you're a marketer, if you're in advertising. And if you haven't noticed already, the AI arms race has already begun. And so if you're experienced in ChatGPT or Bard, if you're using any of these tools, hopefully you're all starting to explore them. If you're not, it's absolutely time to get in there and start exploring all of them. It's going to really, really continue to explode. We heard from Google earlier today talking about all the amazing things they're doing. We have all these tools that are coming to our rescue, really. It's gonna save us a vast amount of time. Now, sometimes people get nervous, there's a big headline, how many jobs are gonna be lost to AI? Honestly, I'm telling you, it's time to be brave. This is not the time to worry about that because it's the time to seize the opportunity in it. Because the opportunity is way, way, way more impactful than the consequences. We've already been through a period of unprecedented disruption. We've already lived through some pretty insane years. I don't need to remind you about all the different Ps. You know exactly what they are, right? And it's changed the way consumers behave. It's changed the way we behave. It's changed the way we think about jobs. It's changed the way that we shop. It's changed the way we act. And so we have to approach this differently. We have these huge consumer expectations. I want personalization in everything that I encounter. I want you to treat me as if I'm your best customer, even if I'm not your customer. I mean, how are you supposed to help a brand deliver that type of customer experience? It's going to take a lot of data. And then you have consumer privacy. And there's obviously a lot to be saying there, right? Consumer privacy, that must mean data governance. We should definitely have data governance. And that's definitely going to deliver really great personalized experience. Probably not, right? So with all these challenges, agencies have their own additional set of challenges. I love this photo. This is how I feel sometimes. I feel like there's a lot, actually, but a unique set of challenges for the agencies that are serving the brands that are coping with this. The need to differentiate is more critical than ever. The competition is intense. You have to grow revenue. We have a whole new set of expectations of the agencies that we partner with. We are putting everything up for grabs. If I'm a brand, I want to test everybody. I want to have proof that this is the best option I'm getting. You have the demand for more value. And quite frankly, we're hearing from a lot of our clients that brands are asking you, what are you doing with AI? How are you handling first-party data? What do you know about the latest technology, right? So that's extra pressure on top of the pressure that you have. Plus, you have to retain your clients. Just looking around the room, and even last night at the award session, the room is full of a lot of Resonate clients. And that's great. I love that all the agencies are clients, but that means the competition is pretty stiff. And so you have to retain your clients. How do you add value for them? What can you do to create new revenue streams to sell to them? All of these things are really, really critical. At a time that margins are compressed, AOR is not a thing really anymore. I remember the good old days too. There's a lot of security in that, right? So these are unique agency challenges, but the good news is that they're solvable by AI. They're solvable by AI, not in the way that it's losing jobs solvable. It's solvable in the way I have given you a critical competitive advantage. So it's a time for excitement and bravery, not skepticism and fear. I know, I'll admit that even in the beginning I had a lot of skepticism and fear, but I'm like super, super excited right now. Also feeling pretty brave. Key is having the AI-powered data to compete. So you need to compete, you want to be able to have really, really robust data, but you need to have it at scale. So to have data scale to compete, it takes AI. We leverage AI to create 230 million individual profiles. Individual profiles, not households, because if you think about your household, I'm sure that there are differences in the individuals that reside in that household. I have 2 teenagers. There's a lot of differences in my household, some that you might not guess, but that's a different thing. So you want to have it at the individual level, but you're talking about the traditional players who you've been used to working with who are giving you much less scale, and either that or at the household level. So we're talking about 230 million versus scale at the individual level compared to 50K or 80K of scale. That's not the way that you get to the reach that you need to have these brands be influencers. You also need to have scale, but it has to be deep. Because the reality is, just like I said, my household, you can't also put me in the category of a parent of 2 teenagers. What does that mean? I'm talking to an audience of some of the best agencies. You know full well what that means. There's lots of things that differentiate us. And if you really want to compete and give your brand the edge, you have to know those things. And there's things that you don't always expect. Obviously, demographics play into it. I'm not going to say that they don't, but my behavior, my preferences, they change more rapidly than they've changed before. And some long-form study that you're going to do will be outdated quickly when the next big headline comes, because that's how we're living these days. Another thing that we don't always talk about, how do I feel about the brands that I buy from? We have research that will tell you who exactly will buy from a brand that supports pro-life and who will not buy from a brand that supports pro-life. Well, let me tell you, 10 years ago, nobody wanted to talk about Roe v. Wade in marketing. Like, we weren't talking about it in marketing advertising, but today's consumer cares. You do need to know, where do they stand on the economy? Where do they stand on ESG? How do they feel about certain key issues? Will it change the way they buy? Will they buy more, or will they abandon your brand if you take a stand? You need to know that. That's not readily available data. You can't just grab it and use it. You also need to know why they're making the decisions they're making, because you want to know what influences may subject that to a change. And things are changing quickly. So you have to have deep data. But nobody needs yet another system, and so it's got to be accessible. And this is where AI makes it very easy for discovery and understanding. This is one of the most exciting areas. We're going to be able to exponentially continue to increase the amount of processing power that we have so that you don't have to do the long analysis work. This is an example of our platform, the Resonate Ignite platform, which helps you analyze audiences at scale and then connects you to activation if you want to do it. Obviously, there's a lot of good reasons to do this. Most of our clients win new business at a much higher rate than they've won before. On average, 82%. It helps them retain clients, which is great. Always want to do that, but more importantly, grow that and create new opportunities to sell to those clients. And of course, we want to create efficiencies in the agency. And this is where one of the biggest opportunities in AI comes. According to McKinsey, 75% of the efficiencies that are going to be gained will come from marketing, sales, engineering, and consumer-facing functions. So that's a lot of efficiency that's going to be gained by the people in this room with the right tools. But you have to have the ability to use it across your entire workflow. Mostly these tools are designed just for the analytics team or just for the strategy team. But there's a lot of utility for the people that are serving the clients today. To understand more about the clients you already have and find opportunities to sell them new things is a big potential. To have creative, have better access to more robust data to inform their brief is a great, useful tool. And so the key is having it really a workflow that goes across your agency. And first-party data is critical. You have to have an answer for it. Obviously, the pressure is coming. If you haven't seen it, I was talking to someone from Nike the other day who was saying, we have all this great data. And if you think about it, Nike's got a ton of great data. Think about the apps. Think about how they're tracking. They know how healthy, they know how many miles I went. They know if I was slow or fast. They know what my heart rate was. They know what shoes I'm wearing. They know everything. But they're not sure how to use it because they're trying to determine, is it safe to use? Does that align with my brand values if I use that? Who's governing it? I have another client who has data governance sitting in the room. when we come to talk to them so they could tell them which data they can and can't use. You as agencies, as partners, have to have an answer for the first-party data story. So let's talk about what agencies just like you do. What would Bravery in action look like if you were leveraging AI to its full capabilities? I heard someone say today that there were no good Super Bowl ads. I don't know if he's still here. I thought there were a couple. We had a couple clients with Super Bowl ads. This is one of them.
Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this and see what's behind. Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying. Take a look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see it clearer, or are you deceived in what you believe? 'Cause I'm only human after all.
I mean, the music is so good, right? So Brave is really taking on changing minds. Now, wherever you fall on this topic, it's a really tough challenge to take on this concept of changing minds, or at least embracing audiences that may not be necessarily in your core. This is an ad spot. You guys have probably seen it. One of the most talked about Super Bowl ads, for better or for worse, one of the most talked about Super Bowl ads. He gets us. The goal here was to increase the respect and relevancy for the lessons taught by Jesus to a segment that they called the movable middle. So they weren't trying to, necessarily go to people that they thought were unmovable. They only wanted what they called the movable middle, which this is a pretty serious topic to be movable on, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of values, but this one is a tough one. So they were able to actually take the Super Bowl ad, and using Resonate, they were able to help them identify not only insights that would help them build the most impactful creative and messaging to target those audiences, but also understand which of the segments engaged with a Super Bowl ad and then went on to take the next action. And this is really, really important because they weren't trying to reach everybody. They were respectful of the ad spend that they had. They wanted to get a good return. They knew that there was no purpose in spending money on somebody who was not going to be persuadable. But how could they identify them? So they were able to connect the Super Bowl performance directly to the performance of the segments they were targeting and serve up the next right ad on that buying journey for them to communicate what they needed to communicate with them. And after a year, I mean, it's pretty remarkable. 70% of Americans are familiar with the brand. Obviously, there's a lot of really interesting social media. Did I just see Jesus in a commercial is one of my favorite ones. But the most important stat is they had awareness at the level that Coca-Cola had after a lifetime of spending. So how are you leveraging AI to harness the power of this? And how are you actually influencing the people that you want to influence? They had an 11% increase in the segment that they were most concerned about. You have to be brave with AI to do it. It's not a time to hide under the pillow. That time was like November when you were like, uh-oh. Now it's time to come out from under the pillow and be brave. And the way that you do that is to ensure that you have the best possible data. Take advantage of what AI is doing in terms of predictability. Get the richness that you need, but the recency you need, and get it at scale. It's time to leverage AI-powered tools to really eliminate the inefficiencies, and there's a lot of them. And it's also time to reestablish yourself as indispensable. This is a perfect opportunity for you as an agency to say, we understand what this next wave of technology is going to mean to your brand, and we're here to partner with you to get you through it. One of the coolest things that we have done is built a foundation model for the US consumer. What does that mean? So the way that AI works today, the latest cutting edge in technology is actually building a foundation model that has to be trained on enormous sums of data. And this is why it's really important for you to understand when you're talking to people and they're saying, yes, we do AI, ask these types of questions. We collect 30 billion data points about consumer behavior every day. We have a source of online consumer and household data that we bring in. We have our own ground truth that we've trained our model on. And this allows us to remember the past, to know what is happening right now, and then to use that to predict the future with an incredibly high degree of accuracy. And that's where our data comes from. And that data is a rich, robust perspective on an individual consumer, all the things about them, including why they make the decision they make. And then to boot, we've brought AI into our platform. If I can get this video to play, think about the way you build audiences and the time that it takes to go through all the different categories and attributes to think of what are those most important things, what are the critical differentiators inside this audience. What you're watching is AI in our platform sorting through thousands of attributes, calculating a Z-score to tell you which one of these attributes is the most important set of attributes for you to build your audience. And in a matter of 2 minutes or so, I will have gone through almost 10,000 different attributes. And I will discover things that I didn't even know were critical to building that audience. I will eliminate the bias that I might naturally have, the places I normally go when I'm thinking of defining an audience, and I will save an enormous amount of time. That's the potential of what's available with AI. So right now you're looking at a crypto investor audience that I picked, and it's telling me which of these attributes are actually relevant to this audience. This may be data that's important for partnerships. It may be data that's important for creative. It may be data that's important for how I might write my messaging or which media I might choose. But by category and category, it will go through all of them and tell me which are the most important. And then you apply the intelligence and the experience to say, I'm going to take this in and create this segment with this. I'm going to create an audience out of this. It's amazing what's possible. It's already transforming everything in data and analytics. The disruptive UI, you saw great things from Google today, 40,000 versions. I mean, it's mind-blowing, right? Modernizing methods of segmentation and understanding, that's what we're talking about here. And of course, driving efficiencies. That's what's left to be gained. So bravely embrace AI. Bravely embrace AI-powered data and intelligence and advance your agencies. Thank you guys so much for your time.